Hey YouTube, it's MrLuBuFu, and I'm here with deck tech for the deck I call Ewoks. This is the standard deck that I took to 6th place at my local PTQ with 100 and some people showed up, and this is the deck that I played and did very well with. So I designed the deck to try and beat red-green aggro, since at the time red-green aggro was kind of a big deck, and my local meta, specifically Colorado and Denver, love playing aggressive decks. There's always more aggressive decks than control decks, just of the nature of the people that play there. And then I wanted to be able to try and get a 50-50 split against Delver. So that's how I started, was what did I want to do, and then I did some play testing. I liked the Esper idea just because it offers a lot more variety than just pure blue-white control or blue-black control. Like, you overcome it in both those directions. In this one, it allows you to play a little bit more mid-range. And I mean, honestly, my favorite thing about the deck is you cast Planeswalkers, and then you don't, they'll win the game for you. It's essentially creates this little sub-game of, I cast a Planeswalker, you have to kill it, or eventually I just gain value and win the game. Which is something that I like. Makes it simple for me. I mean, of course, there's still plenty of thinking involved, but it makes it, a decent way to win. So let's start with the mana base. I have 2 islands, 3 plains, 4 swamps. Of course, I would click it. Okay, so. Oh no! Everything got changed out of order again. Okay. Well, 2 islands, 3 plains, 4 swamps. So typical basic mana base. A pair of evolving wilds to fetch them. Then I play 4 isolated chapel, 3 glacial fortress, 3 drowned catacombs, and then 2 sea chromes as my duels. Now, if you notice, most of these are interplay tapped, unless you control the basic lands of the other type. So typically your turn 1 play is either an evolving wilds or one of these lands that are tapped. And the reason is, and I also play a Singleton Vault of the Archangel. And the reason is because this deck really doesn't have many 1-drops. This is a more control-y deck. The only legitimate 1-drop that might be cast would be like a Tragic Slip on their Mana Dork or something silly like that, or on their Delver. So basically, the mana base is just something consistent that, after playtesting I was able to balance out, that I would get enough black, white, and blue just so I could cast all my spells. The big one was I needed to be sure to have enough white if I wanted to hard cast Entreat the Angels, but normally that was by turn 7, so you'd be okay. I think every time I had it in my opening hand, I got to 7 and then hard cast it without too much trouble. So I'm playing 10 sorceries, 4 lingering souls. I mean, that's essentially the creature base of the deck. This deck does not play any creatures, just plays lingering souls as one of its 2 methods of creating them. No, 3. It's a very good card. Only thing is, now with the rise of Sword of War and Peace, it gets a little bit worse. When Sword of War and Peace cycles out, Lingering Souls is going to come back in, so don't forget about it. It's a good card. And then as a win condition for the deck, I play 3 Entreat the Angels. For those of you who don't know, a miracle to Entreat the Angels in a deck, and this one is designed to. This is designed to hit its land drops every turn until basically turn 7 or 8. It's designed to be nice and slow, but you always get your lands. And so Entreat the Angels, when you miracle it for then, I mean, I've hard casted it 7 mana for 2 4/4 flyers many times, because I'm playing 3, so you often end up with 1 in your hand, or you draw 1 on turn 2 and can't cast it. But anytime after that, it just scales so fast. Like, I've been treated for 7 and just crushed face. It's very powerful for the effect it offers. And now comes a little bit of a story. I played 1 Day of Judgment and 2 Terminus. And that was an actual last minute, as I'm writing the deck list thing. The original deck list I had was 3 Day of Judgments. And I was sitting down with a couple other people I knew that I played with on the Monday before, so I could practice a little bit more. And I traded for a pair of Terminus, and I was like, oh, I'll just put them in my sideboard. Maybe they'll be fine. And then when I'm there writing my deck list, someone asked me about Terminus, and I was like, I'm not sure. I kind of like Day of Judgment because you always, 4 mana is pretty stable, and it helps clear the board a little bit. But then I was like, what about Stranglergeist? Stranglergeist does really well against this deck. And so does Wolfare Avenger. And what about any Frights deck? And it also gives help for Moorland Haunt. So I made a last-second gut call where I swapped in 2 Terminus for 2 Day of Judgment. And let me tell you, that probably won me a couple games. Terminus, when you miracle it, is insane. When you hardcast it, it's less good. But if you've slowed the game down so that way you're not dead by turn 6, it typically does a pretty good job. And what with Day of Judgment not being M13 doesn't fit in the name crunch or the names of the thing. Terminus might be your only hope for board wipe for a while. Now I play 13 instants. Wow, good job, voice crack. 2 Go for the Throats, and 1 Doomblade as some spot removal and 2 Tragic Slips. A little bit of spot removal is fine. I didn't want to go too heavy on the Doomblades because of there were some decks playing some Grave Titans, Gristlebrand's especially, that I didn't want to deal with. So that's why the 2 Go for the Throats. Wormcoil Engine's kind of fallen out of favor. And then for card draw and filter, I played 3 Think Twice, 2 Forbidden Alchemy. Forbidden Alchemy is great. You just get 1 card the first time, and then you get whatever you need on turn 7 or 8. Or whenever you've slowed the game down so you're controlling it, you can just guarantee you get something you want, which is very powerful. And then I played 3 Mana Leaks. Yes, I know. I was very sketchy about playing Mana Leaks because this was right after Cavern of Souls was out, and I expected a ton of Cavern of Souls. I didn't see that many, which was good because it made Mana Leak that much better. Typically, they would be at Sighted Out in Game 2s pretty much every single time. But Game 1s, they did work. And I played 8 Planeswalkers. This is Ewoks for Esper Planeswalkers. I came up with the name also on the spot, and I just loved it. So, it's trademarked, not really. So I played 8 Planeswalkers. 2 Liliana of the Veils to deal with, like, Geist of St. Traphs and just Wolfire Avengers. That sort of thing that, a turn 3 Liliana can do. And then getting people to discard, they discard a card, I discarded a Lingering Soul, something like that was solid. The best one of the deck was by far Gideon. Casting a Gideon against all of these aggressive decks just made combat impossible for them. It really did. Gideon carried a lot, and I'm going to miss him since he's at could be M13, but he was very, very good. Next, 2 Lawrence Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, and he himself was also pretty good. 1, he's the only card in the deck that makes creatures that can block something with a Sword of War and Peace, which did become relevant. A Sorin combined with a Gideon did in fact win me a game when he had Sword of War and Peace dudes. But Sorin also, his emblem is nutty with Lingering Souls. Like, at one point, getting 2 or even 3 emblems just puts such a fast clock on them with tokens. It's really hard to deal with. So Sorin is also very, very powerful. And the one that will always have a special place is Taimyo. She is insane in control matchups. Just legitimately insane. I ulted her 2 times over the course of the tournament, and then during my practices I would ult her, probably 10% of the time, maybe a little less. But anytime you get that kind of consistency in a Planeswalker ultimate, especially one as powerful as Timeo, that's you've got the game won. Then I play a pair of Curse of Death's Hold. This was at the time before people realized how good Restoration Angel was in Delver. But Curse not only wrecks the mirror match when other people play Lingering Souls and are not playing, pure tokens when they're playing pump effects, but also does work against Delver, since you can then chump with one Lingering Souls token. All around a very good card to get. And then I play a single Batter Skull. I want to play it main board to help against those aggro decks game 1. And it does work. I mean, it won me a couple games. I think I got up to like 40 life or something riding off a Batter Skull. Sideboard was fun to build. I like building sideboards. I'm going to start with the card that people are going to wonder why it's in here. That's Torpor Orb. How could people forget how amazing Torpor Orb is? It completely hoses any humans deck. Just white-red, white-green, you name it, Torpor Orb wrecks them. It also wrecks Pod, and any Reanimator sort of strategy, typically. Not really Reanimator so much, but definitely Birthing Pod. And it's very, very powerful. So I played 2 of them. It actually won me a couple of games. One of them was against a Heartless Summoning deck, because, the only creature he had in his deck that was not an Enter the Battlefield effect was Gristlebrand. So there's that. Then I played 2 Celestial Purge to counteract any black zombies, which was there were a couple showings of it, and one of them went very, very far. And it was also okay against red-green aggro, exiling, Inferno Titans or Huntmaster of the Fells. I had 2 more Day Judgment in the side, just because board wipe was huge, especially against aggro decks. I played 2 Nihil Spellbomb against Reanimator and against any undying creatures. And I mean, the fact is, if you're playing black, this is your most powerful graveyard hate, since you don't want to play Grafdigger's Cage, since it hoses your Lingering Souls, your Think Twice as your Forbidden Alchemies. I played 1 Oblivion Ring. This was like the 15th card. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I put in an O-Ring to help against opposing Planeswalkers, since this deck does have a little bit of a weakness to that. 2 Phantasmal Image. This one was more against Fright. Phantasmal Image is a very, very powerful card. Clone for 2 mana is very good. So I played this against any deck that was playing giant creatures, and it was very powerful. 2 Revoke Existence. This one I had to... my local card shop had exactly 1 in stock, so I had scavenged to find the second one. The reason I'm playing Revoke Existence over, say, Divine Offering was because I needed the enchantment protection. This deck also has a weakness to that sort of thing, and I'd rather be able to hit the enchantments than get crushed, than have instant speed artifact removal. And then I played 2 Timely Reinforcements as, again, more padding against really aggressive decks. So that was the deck. Let me know what you guys think. I will probably be having more deck techs in the future, since it seems like something people want to see. I'll probably do them with the actual cards when I have the chance. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, and yeah, not much else to say.